Recording has started.
Thank you. Welcome to another edition of District Capitalized from DSLBD, the Department of Small Local Business Development. This is our Money Monday session. Today, we're very excited to have two lenders in the area to come in and support this presentation on commercial lending with City First Enterprises and the DC Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. If you're watching this on a recording, feel free to reach out to us if you'd like to have any of this information translated to you. We'd be happy to do that. I'm Camille Nixon. I'm Project Manager and Capital Access Manager for the Department of Schools and Local Business Development. Hello, welcome, Wanda.
Hi.
Hello.
Everyone, sorry. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? We're glad that you can join us. We're just good. We're just kicking off, and we'll be bringing you in a few minutes to chat about your experience.
Oh, I'm Mr. What now?
Oh, I was saying, hang on tight. We'll be bringing you in shortly to talk about your experience.
Okay.
So we're glad you could join us. Thank you. A little bit about DSLBD, if you're not familiar with us, we're a DC government agency that supports the development, economic growth, and retention of businesses throughout the city. And we also support the commercial corridors within which they're operating. And within DSLBD is the team of the Innovation Equitable Development, Inno.ED. That's the team that's bringing you District Capitalized and Money Mondays. We have tons of resources to help you, anywhere from events like this, one-on-one trainings, one-on-one counseling and consultations, grants and other things to support you. So here's how you can connect with us as a group through training or meet with us one-on-one. One of our programs is District Capitalized, which is a coordinating program that supports the financing, creation, operation, and expansion of businesses in the district, both at the idea stage, if you're a DC resident exploring entrepreneurship as a path to wealth, or if you're an existing DC business looking for support, we will help you at all stages. We offer both products directly, like the different loans and grants that we support. And we also refer you to other products that are available through our partners like CFE and DISB. We have trainings like this and other guidance, as well as refer you to guidance available throughout the city. There's lots of great resources to help you. You can learn more about District Capitalized here and also sign up for our DC funding alert to get all this great resources pushed to your email about once or twice a month. One thing we talk a lot about in District Capitalized is stacking capital, and today's session is a great example of that. Capital could be a lot of different things. As you see these blocks, there's a lot at the base that's in your hands, starting out with bootstrapping and savings, other ways to build slowly your revenue. Sales first is always something that we push, but you may need to access other types of debt, like 0% interest loans through DC Kiva Hub, or even a business credit card if you have to. But then as you get those base foundations of funding, you can start to explore grants, loans, and collateral support. And we'll be talking about that middle road today. And these are all sitting very sturdily on financial management from the early stages all the way out to when you're having multi-million-dollar projects. You need to have a really strong financial management base. So we'll be talking about how you can stack those financing to get to an opportunity for you to expand your business. And we have a great example today that will be presented to you from Ms. Henderson, who just joined us. I'd like to bring in our director, Christy Whitfield, director of DSLBD, herself a former entrepreneur, knows lots about stacking capital. And also she has, through her leadership, has supported several products that have helped us help stack capital for other businesses. Director Whitfield? I think she was on.
Oh, I'm here. I had to.
Oh, wonderful. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I had to run and get closer to a plug. Hello, Miss Wanda. Pleasure to see you.
Bill, it's a pleasure seeing you this morning.
Well, I am so happy to be here today, and I wanted to make sure I came here today and gave a brief moment of greetings. Yes, my name is Christy Whitfield. I have the pleasure of serving as Mayor Bowser's director of the Department of Small and Local Business Development. Capital is on the center of most business owners' minds, and anyone that has ever run a business knows that money is the lifeblood of your business. As Camille had mentioned, sales are the best thing to run your business by, but sometimes you need to find other ways to other ways to keep that business running. You know, Miss Wanda, as everybody knows her, is an inspiration to us all, and I am so excited that we are focusing on her story today. You know, Miss Wanda's story is a story of inspiration, and DSLBD is honored to be just, you know, a footnote in her story of success. I have some notes here about Miss Wanda. You know, you have been in DC, I think, your entire life. You know, your shop, where I have visited many times, is a, you know, is a centerpiece of community in Shaw. And, you know, and for years you have talked about wanting to open up a place where people could come and learn the craft that you have shared with so many members of, you know, of the community for years. And so we were so excited to be able to support you in this goal, and that we know that you've recently closed on a loan and will be purchased, you know, a building at 2408 Martin Luther King Avenue Southeast.
Yeah.
And that this property has come, when we talk about stacking capital, we have a lot of partners. Commissioner Karima Woods and I spoke, you know, we talk often, but we spoke last year specifically about making sure that we are able to support our entrepreneurs, and particularly our entrepreneurs of culture, of color. And we know that preserving our small businesses in our city is paramount to this mayor, and at the forefront of a lot of our mission as we think about equity. And when you own property, you preserve intergenerational wealth, and you help people persevere in the most trying of times, which is where a lot of us are. So, you know, we will hear today from Miss Wanda, but I want to really shout out Commissioner Woods. And I think Erin Fenwick from her team at DISB is here to talk about, you know, some of the critical parts that DISB did to make this happen. You know, I know Oswaldo Acosta was one of the first calls I made when I said, we've got a great business owner and we want to make sure we find her the right lender to do this kind of work. Christina Noel, the executive director of the Anacostia bid, you know, this is a dream that has so many supporting cast members, and I know Ms. Wanda will talk about this. Alex Padro from Shawn Main Street has been right there with Ms. Wanda year after year through thick and thin. I think that the most important thing that I'd like to say, Ms. Wanda, thank you for continuing to persevere. Thank you for being a testimony to what that perseverance can do. We know that today is the last day of Black History Month, and I feel like you are a Black History fact every day of your life, and a Black History fact in the making. We look forward to continuing to support the work you do, and it's an honor to be able to celebrate this work and use you as an example, and to continue to lift up your, you know, your business and the example that you hold for business owners all across the city. So with that, I introduce Miss Wanda to each and every one of you, and I hope you all listen to her story and learn a lot about the resources that DSLBD and our many, many partners have to offer each and every one of you, and I hope you take advantage of them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and to listen to my story. Well, you know, as you know, my name is Wanda Henderson. I am the owner of Wanda's on 7th, and I'm a Washingtonian all my life, and I've been in the beauty industry for over 45 years. I've had the greatest pleasure to working with DSLBD, Alex Padro, and City First Bank, in helping me, you know, maintain my business, and, you know, in purchasing furniture, technical assistance, grants. Whenever I had a need, Alice and DSLBD was always there. And then when I put it out to them that I wanted to open my own beauty school, and then Ms. Whitfield called and said, well, we're interested in purchasing. Well, you know, I tried to hurry up and I'm going to call Ms. Whitfield back. Yes, I am. I was going to rent a space in Ward 8, but to purchase over in Ward 8 was just awesome as well. I wanted to be on Martin Luther King Avenue. I wanted to be near the metro. I wanted to be able to help, people in Ward 8 to, achieve their dreams over there, as well as I have achieved my dreams over here, because before I was in Detroit Park, I was in Congress Heights. So, we're all from the same cloth over there, and we can do exceptionally well. So I just wanted to thank you guys for, giving me a chance to own my own building.
Thank you, Wanda, Ms. Wanda, and thank you, Director.
I'm so happy about that.
Oh,
to
Ms.
own my
Wanda.
own building and have my own business. It's so important to be able to have your own business, and I didn't have to wait too long with you guys. You guys got it through for me quickly. City First Bank was amazing. They work with us, whatever we needed to have. They told us we've got it. The grants came through DSLBD, and we got them. I'm sorry about that, but and we got it through, and we got it through fast and efficiently. And to be over in historic Anacostia is amazing. It was Miss Christy Noel. They were amazing. They would show me all the grant programs, everything that was out there to help make this a very successful moment. And it did. I'm just so happy. So, excuse me for 1 second. So, thank you. So, with all of that, I wanted to say that in purchasing the property, the acquisition loan made a huge difference in purchasing the building that's $1 million. And then there's other grants that's available to help me make sure that I succeed in what I do. So, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank City First Bank. I want to thank Ms. Noel. I want to thank Christy. I want to thank Alice Padro. I want to thank Jonathan Reeves. I want to thank the whole staff and everybody who worked to help my dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wanda. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I wish I didn't have my mask on. You can see me smiling ear to ear. I'm with you. I hear in your voice your pride, and that it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen. You sounded like very intentional, both in your development of your first business, Wanda's on 7th, but also where you want to take it as far as the programming of a beauty school, where physically you want to do it, who you want to have the market for. Those are the things, as you're approaching capital, trying to stack capital, that a lender wants to see. Have you invested in your own self? Have you had sales? Have you bootstrapped? Have you gotten other people to support you in stacking the grant from us, a loan from City First, the collateral from DISB, all of that combined? It takes a minute, but it is very possible. I think your story tells us that it's feasible, and that with perseverance, it can happen. As the director said, it's something that's be in it and keep working on it and keep working on it. I'm so glad that you were able to join us to share the example. I hope you'll be able to stay a little bit longer if you can. If not, we might have some people reach out to you later with question and answers. But I want to thank Director Whitfield for joining us to welcome us. And to highlight all the steps and people who came together to help with Wanda's story. And Wanda, for you coming on in first person, sharing that experience. It gives me hope. I hope it gives other people on the line hope that it is possible. And there's lots of resources out there to help you through CFE, DISB, DSLBD, and other partners. So with that, let's jump into the meat of the presentation, which is seeing how Wanda did this. We're going to highlight some of the things that she did, some of the products that she used to stack that capital to go towards closing on her second location, her new beauty school in Anacostia. So here's some of the things that we'll go over today from our presenters. City First Enterprises, Jonathan Reyes will jump in shortly and give us an overview of City First Enterprises and their commercial lending products, and focusing on it from a commercial real estate perspective, since that's the example through Ms. Henderson's business that we're using today. But they do have other products. Their products can be used for a wide variety of things, but we'll focus on the commercial real estate side of it today. And then Aaron Fenwick from the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, DISB, will join us to give us an overview of their very robust DC BizCap program, which includes a collateral support program that Ms. Henderson used. He'll go through the requirements, and then we'll end up sharing some resources of how you can find financing for either your commercial real estate project or other aspects of your business's development. And then since we're talking about real estate, we'll have information on how you can find commercial space. Space in quotes, because maybe it's not a physical building at the first stages, but how you can find space for your business here in the district. We have a lot of great trainings coming up related to this topic, so we'll end with that before we jump into Q&A. So let's just get started with City First Enterprises. Welcome, Jonathan, from City First Enterprises. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Wanda, it's always great to see you. My name is Jonathan Reyes. I am the loan officer for City First Enterprises, and I just want to thank everyone for joining today, and especially DSLBD for having me. If you want to go to the next slide. So before we get into our commercial lending solutions, just wanted to go over briefly what and who City First Enterprises is. City First Enterprises is a community development financial institution, and our mission is to increase access to financial capital for affordable housing developers, small minority-owned businesses, diverse nonprofits, health, education, and arts organizations, all of which are vital to thriving communities, economic equity and inclusion, and social mobility. CFE's lending vehicle is the Equitable Growth Fund. Now, all of the work that we do within DC and Maryland, it has to do a lot with also our partners. So, today's event, which is sponsored by DC Department of Small and Local Business Development, and also our partnerships with DC Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, actually enable CFE to continue its effort to extend lending to small businesses. Our goal is to continue working on bridging the gap. And for today, now CFE does have a lot of different lending solutions, but today's main focus will be about commercial real estate lending. And with the commercial real estate lending, we have two lending solutions. One of them being an acquisition loan, and the second one being the construction to permanent loan. Today's discussion will talk a little bit about what the acquisition loan is, the purpose of the loan, the terms, the conditions, as well as the construction to permanent loan, and also from an underwriter and a lender's perspective, what are some of the requirements and documentation that you, as a borrower, will need to provide in order to apply and be approved for a loan. When it comes to the acquisition loan, the purpose of it, it could be used for the purchase of multifamily buildings, commercial buildings for residential or commercial reuse, community facilities, or owner-occupied commercial space. The amount that City First Enterprises approves for is either between $100,000 or $1 million. The term, it's up to 7 years, and that's typically the normal terms for a commercial loan. And every 7 years, you're either refinancing or restructuring the loan. The rate can be between 4.5 to 9%. An average that I've seen while being at City First Enterprises is usually around 6%. We talk a lot about the loan to value, right? And the loan to value, meaning the amount of the loan that you will get can be up to 85% of the value of the property. Some of the extra expenses or fees that come along with the loan is the origination fee. That's the lender's fee, and that's usually between 1 to 2%. And the collateral or the guarantee will always be a first lien on the subject property that you're looking to acquire. Now, an important thing also is that anyone who owns 20% or more of the borrowing entity or the business has to also personally guarantee the loan. And that's for usually every lender will require this. Now, what if you need to acquire the building, but you also have to do some construction and some renovation? And in this case, just as Ms. Wanda mentioned, acquiring the building, but there's still a little bit of extra work that needs to happen, right? How can we build that into the budget, right? So then we go into what is called a construction to permanent loan, and usually this loan is to construct or rehabilitate multifamily buildings, commercial buildings for residential or commercial use, community facilities, or owner-occupied commercial space. The amount stays between $100,000 to $1 million. The terms still 7 years. The rate stays about the same, and the loan to value will always be up to 80% as well. And the same thing with the collateral. It will be a first lien and a personal guarantee required on all types of loans. Now, if you're thinking of owning your own property or talking to a lender and you're thinking of applying, there are a couple of things that will be required. Of course, there's always a lot more as the process really starts and continues. But some of the things that a lender will request will be a business loan application. There will be a credit authorization form. We'll be looking at your your credit, of course. City First Enterprises looks at the overall borrower, the individual, and even though your credit score is important, it's not the main driver behind a decision for why City First Enterprises would do a loan. Making sure that you're also providing the collateral information or the subject property. Before you apply for a loan, you have to really look for a property first. Once you find the property, then you can start looking for financing. Making sure that you do have also a purchase sale agreement. That's going to be very important. A lender will ask for that. City First Enterprises will ask for that. Now, the importance of a purchase sale agreement, and Ms. Wanda, I'm going to use your example of why it's so important. So just backtracking a little bit, Ms. Henderson actually had found a property last year, and we were working and gathering all the documents. We were working with her, providing some technical assistance, and right almost where we were almost going to go for our loan committee for approval and fight for her loan, the seller decided not to sell the property anymore. Right. Yeah. So that really, put a dent into all the work that was happening. But, it's fine. It probably wasn't the right property. It wasn't the right time. So this time around, when Ms. Henderson came back and said, hey, she found a property, we were like, hey, you want to make sure that you have a purchase sale agreement, so that way that purchase sale agreement, the seller can't just back out, right? And making sure that she had enough time to do her due diligence, make sure that she also had ample time to secure all the financing that she needed, right? So that's why a purchase sale agreement is going to be important. So that'll be one of the first things that City First Enterprises or any other lender will ask for. If the business is expanding and it's growing, we want to make sure that you also have a business plan. Make sure that you have the projections. You want to show the lender, okay, if I'm acquiring this property, this is what's going to happen to my business. We want to make sure what will be the cash flow effect of the business, right? Making sure that it is growing. If it's a business, if you're acquiring the location where you're currently operating at, maybe you may not have projections, but you will have the historicals, right? So you're just changing from paying monthly or annual rent to actually just being the owner of the building. You must be in operations for at least 3+ years. So we will be asking for current business financials. We'll be asking for either audited business financial statements, such as your balance sheets, your profit and loss, or your business tax returns. If your business model has to do a lot with contracts and you're getting paid based on a net 30 or a net 60, we will be asking for an accounts receivable agent report to really understand how your cash flow works. Your debt schedule, want to make sure that you're being very transparent with all of the debt that your business currently has, because we want to make sure that your business is being profitable enough to be able to serve current business debt plus the new business debt as well. We'll be looking at the business bank statements to make sure that you do have the funds that you will be bringing to the closing as well. And if you have any other contracts with the DC government or anybody else that's providing you with work and revenue, we may want to see that just to make sure that it is helping your case, right? As a guarantor and owner of the business, we'll be asking for a personal financial statement to look at your overall personal financial picture, as well as we'll be asking for your personal taxes and your personal bank statements. Now, I do want to be clear that the underwriter may request, additional information. As Ms. Henderson is aware, it's a lot of, sometimes a lot of documentation. It's not impossible, but we'll be there to work with you all the way through. As you are thinking about, understanding the overall project cost, and when the lender is asking you, hey, like we need to see your sources and uses, what the overall project is really going to look like. We've had a lot of instances where a borrower may only think that the cost is just the acquisition price, right? So if the property is being sold for $1 million, they think, hey, $1 million is the only expenses that they're going to incur, plus maybe any transfer of taxes. But that's not entirely true. There are other costs that you may need to consider when you're looking for financing and when you're putting together your budget. First of all, the acquisition price of the property, very, very important. Understanding what the lender's origination fee is. In this case, City First Enterprises could be, mostly it's 1% of the loan amount. Also think about, any additional legal fees that you may incur, as well as, appraisal fees or environmental fees, transfer of taxes, and if the property is going to require some additional renovations or construction, you need to understand what that budget really looks like, right? And then once you have all of that figured out, and of course you'll work with your lender to figure that out, you need to understand what your equity requirement will be, how much you're really going to bring to the table, right? Because if the price of the property is $1 million and the lender would only let you borrow 80% of $1 million, you need to, there's $200,000 that you need to bring to the table, plus any additional fees that you're going to incur. So making sure you understand your budget and your equity is very, very important, as well as understanding your debt service coverage, right? Making sure that you know how profitable your business is, what's the new payments on the new loan, and if all of that can be supported with the revenue that the business is generating. So that is very, very important. Now, just so that we could have an example, this is just an example for illustration purposes only. You may be asking yourself, okay, so if I'm looking for a loan and I'm looking to acquire a property, and the acquisition price is $1.15 million, what does that really look like, right? When you're creating your budget, let's say you may have some renovation expenses, a lender's fee, transfer of taxes, property insurance, other closing costs. You can see that the total budget or the total financing that you're going to need, or how much it's going to cost you to take on this project, is going to be almost $1.3 million. That's $200,000 more than what you originally expected, right? And if the lender if CFE is only financing 80% of this project, that means if there aren't any other sources of funding that you as the borrower, you will have to bring to the table, $358,000 in equity, right? And being a small business, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that you're going to have, because not only are you bringing this equity into the transaction, I mean, if you're already operating, you still have all your other expenses, right, from the operation of your business. So then we want to start thinking about, okay, if you don't have the $358,000, what can we really do to help you out, right? So this is where we work together with DSLBD, we work together with DISB to structure the deal in a way where not a lot of funds really come out of your pocket. As a lender, we still will require you a minimum at least to bring 10% to the transaction, because again, you want to also put your funds into the project. It's what lenders call having some skin in the game. I mean, if you want to make sure that you have some funds to bring in, but look at this. Once we bring in DISB into the transaction, everything changes. The project cost stays around the same. It may just go up a little bit more because of the transfer taxes and DISB's origination fee. But if you look at it, your equity drops. You go from having to bring $358,000 to the table to just only bring in 114,000. Now, there is a process that you need to go through, which Aaron is going to go through and what those requirements are. But if as a CFE loan gets approved at 782,000, then we bring in DISB in to do 50% of the approved loan amount. And then you'll have to go through a whole different approval process, but we'll be there to work with you all the way through. Now, once you get the pre-approval, there's a lot more work that really has to go through this, right? So at CFE, we have our technical assistance program, which is ran by Ms. Viviana Stevens, who's here today as well. But with the technical assistance program, we'll support you during the application process and even after closing, because once you're pre-qualified or pre-approved, there will be additional support to close the loan. We'll make sure that we'll provide you support to resolve any other need that we identified during maybe the underwriting process, gather some information, documents, obtain certificates. If you're a business that has gotten an EIDL loan through the SBA, there's like subordinations that we have to work with. So it's a lot of stuff that maybe you as the borrower may not have thought of, right? But don't worry, we'll be there with you to follow up with you and give you support. As Ms. Henderson's project, continues to grow, is not a one-time done. We will continue to work with her and guide her through the remaining of the process. We still have a lot of work to do, but the most important things on getting those approvals has been done. If you want to go to the next slide, and that's it. Now at the forefront of City First Enterprises, we do have Ms. Viviana Stevens, who a lot of you have met, and as the loan officer, so the main point of contact when it comes to commercial loan, it's Jeffrey Shepard, who's a loan officer as well, and myself. So if you have any questions or there's some additional information you would like to receive from City First Enterprises, please, definitely send us an email and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. You made what I think might be an overwhelming idea. Buying a property seemed definitely doable, both through the different products that are available and how to leverage those along with DISB's product, which we're about to hear from Aaron about, how to leverage those. I hope people took away that there were many steps and things you need to prepare for your application, but City First Enterprises is a CDFI, a community development local lender, and they have lots of extensive technical assistance to help you, as do other partners through District Capitalize. But it's not a process that you can do alone. You need to do for a loan, lean on other people in our ecosystem to help you do it, and CFE is one of them. So thank you so much, Jonathan. And be sure to check out their pre-application link. It's in the slide, but it's also in the chat. That will help you walk through and kind of start to get an understanding of all those steps and to prepare for your application for these products that he mentioned. And then he has some others that they'll talk about later on next month at one of our Lunch and Learns. So now I'd like to turn to Aaron Fenwick from the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, who has some great products to help match those loans that you're trying to get. You can use them in tandem to get to your business goal. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It certainly is a pleasure to be able to address this group. Again, my name is Aaron Fenwick. I'm the SSBCI Program Administrator for DISB, is what we call for short. It stands for the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. Next slide, please. So the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking is a regulatory agency was charged with regulating banks, insurance companies, and security firms. But we also have several financial related programs to help district residents. We have a Office of Financial Empowerment and Education. We've got a mortgage loan foreclosure assistance. We offer student loan ombudsman who helps students with student lending. And then we also have a small business lending program, which I manage, called the DC BizCap. But our mission is threefold. First is to cultivate a regulatory environment that protects consumers and attracts and retains financial service firms to the district, to empower and educate residents on financial matters, and then lastly, to provide financing for district small businesses. The DC BizCap program was established in 2010 as a part of the Jobs Act, and essentially it's a $13.2 million fund that we use to leverage private lending to small businesses within the district. With that fund, we created two sub-programs. The first one is called the Collateral Support Program, and the second one is called the Innovation Finance Program. Next slide, please. The Collateral Support Program is essentially designed for borrowers who require additional collateral to fund loans or lines of credit. Typically, when you go to a bank and you ask for a loan, they're going to say, well, what type of collateral do you have? No different than a mortgage. Your real estate could be your collateral, equipment could be a collateral, cash could be a collateral. If you're a contractor, maybe you have accounts receivables, that could be used as collateral too. But if you don't have enough collateral to substantiate the loan request, you can knock on the door at DISB. We essentially provide cash to deposit with an approved lender to collateral whatever collateral shortfalls you may have. We can do up to 50% the amount of the commercial loan or line of credit with a total support not exceeding $1 million. To scale that a little bit, if you're looking for $100,000 of a bank loan, we could provide up to $50,000 of collateral, which represents 50%. Examples of types of businesses that we can help are government contractors who require bonding or not, any business financing tenant improvements, service providers seeking financing for working capital, as well as retail companies who need to expand and or cover inventory costs. Next slide, please. The second program is the Innovation Finance Program, and actually this is the program that we're able to assist Wanda through. This program provides capital to investors that co-invest in startups and emerging companies that seek financing alternatives that are a little different than traditional financing. Essentially what we can do is we can provide up to 50% of the loan, not to exceed $500,000. Those funds can be used to provide down payment assistance, which is what we've done in this case, to finance build-outs, renovations, or owner-occupied space, which is also what we're helping with, and other business use financing outside of the scope of what the lender or investor will fund. So essentially with this program, our goal is to help lenders lend and help small businesses receive the capital they need to grow and expand their businesses. One of our biggest priorities is that we help create jobs. So one of the things that we'll look to do is that as we're applying for this program, we want to get an idea of how many jobs you'll be creating and what type of financial or economic impact it'll have for the district. The eligibility requirements of the program are that your principal offices of your business must be within the district. That has to be demonstrated by lease or deed, and at least 75% of your employees, and that includes subsidiaries and affiliates, must work in and provide services within the district. An additional caveat is at least 25% of your employees are district residents. You must have fewer than 750 employees, so this is really for small businesses, not larger scale businesses, and no principal of the entity or business has been convicted of a sex crime against a minor. Next slide, please. To connect with us, you can come talk to us a few different ways. The first is interact with us on our website, which is disb.dc.gov. Our phone number, you can call us at 202-727-8000. You can email us at disb@dc.gov. We also have social media, so you can contact us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter at dc.disb. What I'll also do, I've got a hard stop at 3 o'clock. So what I'll do is I'm going to enter my information in the chat. If you've ever got questions, you need support, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We've got an open door policy, and we're passionate about supporting businesses. You guys do a lot for our economy. We want to make sure that we help you do that work. We have great relationship with 11 different lenders, but the lender today is one of my favorite lenders to work with, City First Enterprises. They do a lot of the work that we're doing with Wanda's group, with Wanda's business for a lot of other businesses. So don't hesitate to knock on our door. We can align you with someone to support if we can't support ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you
so much, Aaron. And to Jonathan as well, I'll talk kind of quickly in the next couple of slides, so maybe we can catch Aaron before he has to jump off at 3. If not, as he's mentioned, you can connect with him through these many different ways. But that's great to see, and I know about his program. He's been running it for a while now through the DISB's DC BizCap program. But it's great to see all the different ways you can use it. We talk a lot about commercial property acquisition today, but you also can use their products for bridging contracts, working capital, doing improvements to your current space. There's a variety of ways. I know in working closely with Aaron and with Jonathan, we learn a lot from your questions. We learn how to reinterpret and apply the different products and services that we offer. And we look to ways to pivot them a little bit to address what the demand is from our DC business community. So always reach out to Jonathan's team at City First Enterprises, Aaron with the DISB, Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, and of course, DSLBD's Inno.ED team. We love your questions, and we're always looking for ways to support you in your financing and other ways to develop your business. So really quick information on a couple of things I mentioned during the course of the chat. If you're looking for guidance on DC business financing, this is whether you're at the concept idea stage or already established, everything from the products themselves, the grants, the loans, the lines of credit, the collateral support, but also the steps to get ready for those, how to prepare your application, how to just start with basic financial management. We need to build your access to all this information, all these products further down the line, and most of all, generating revenue. This link here to a roadmap in our DCBusinesstoolkit.com portal will help navigate to those resources, including lenders and supporters like Aaron and Jonathan and their teams. And of course, you can always sign up for our DC Business Funding Alert for updates about new resources and classes that are coming online. And since we did talk a lot about space, commercial space today, there's a similar roadmap. This one helps you navigate how to find commercial space. And space is in quotes because depending what your business is and where you're at stage you're at, you may not need a physical space like an official storefront commercial space. You might want to start off with a home-based business or do a co-sharing space or have a food truck. So these are some of the resources we heard through Ms. Wanda's experience. She tapped the Anacostia bid, which is the destination where she was going. They were instrumental in helping her find a space and work with the landlord. She also tapped into her local Main Street program where she's operating Wanda's on 7th, that's Shaw Main Street. Also, they're helpful too as far as navigating processes and resources and finding space. The Washington DC Economic Partnership has a great database to help find space, as our Made in DC program here at DSLBD, if you're a maker. Guidance both to look for space and think about what space you might need as a maker. And the DC Business Toolkit has a Shop Local DC directory, which is a feature available to any business who signs up for a free account. And you can use that to network, to look for other businesses who have space or they're looking to find a space. And finally, before you go too far along in the process, always check in with DCRA, the Small Business Resource Center, and help you see what requirements you need for your commercial space so that you know that you're getting a space that will meet the requirements you have for your business. You can maintain your business license at that particular location. So this link will get you in, to the roadmap that will help you with all of those and other things around finding space. So we've covered a lot today. Again, thank you, Ms. Wanda, for staying through, and to Aaron and Jonathan. We look for stacking it. Thank you. Stacking capital, an example from Wanda's on 7th and her new beauty school in Anacostia. The products from CFE and how to use them in combination with the products from DISB, and then the resources I just mentioned. A couple of quick shout outs for upcoming classes related to this. You'll hear from Aaron, Jonathan, and I. All three of us are going to be on a training tomorrow about finding funding. This is sponsored by our sister agency, DCRA, 1 o'clock tomorrow. And then Aaron's team at DISB has a regular coffee and capital. If you haven't been to one, I highly encourage it. It's a great way to learn about their services and have conversations about financing. That's coming up on Thursday, March 7th. We'll be having a lunch and learn at the end of the month with Jonathan and CFE about a lot of their other products that are available. That's on the 23rd at noon. Our Money Monday on the 4th will feature Jonathan's teammate, Jeff. We'll be talking about green business and energy financing. And then finally, save the date. We have a mega financing expo coming up. DISB and DSLBD, along with our partners at DC Public Library, City First, and other partners will be having a 3-day expo on resources to help you with financing your business And there'll be a track for personal financing, which is critical to having a solid foundation on which you build your business. That'll be April 27th, May 2nd, and May 4th. The first 2 days are virtual, and that third day, May 4th, will be in person at the DC Public Library. So if you sign up for this event, you'll get updates about that expo when we have the invitation sent out. DSLBD has a couple of pitch and training programs that are under application right now. One is our Dream Pitch program. That's for Ward 7 and 8 based businesses, and our We Aspire program, which is for returning citizens from the District of Columbia. So I hope you'll check them out on our Eventbrite page. Great, I think I've finished a couple of minutes to spare. We still have both Wanda and Aaron on the phone, as well as Jonathan. I saw one question coming through the chat. I'll start with that one. Look for others, and then people can either drop their questions in the chat, or you can unmute once we go through these first couple of ones. So I think this is a question from Jerry. Is there no way to apply if you are a business less than 3 years, even if the company is very equitable? And Jerry, if you're on the line and would like to unmute to give more clarification, please do.
Hello. When he was going over the way that we could, one of the requirements to apply for the loan was that the business had to be 3 years. But let's say I'm a year or two in, but I'm showing the profit that I could support being in a building. Would I not be included because I haven't made it to 3 years in business?
So typically from a lender's perspective, we usually look at, like 3 years, 3+ years of financials, but at a minimum, it would be 2. It would be 2 years in operation and generating revenue.
And I'll also add to that, you also want to knock on the door of some of your programs. Some of the programs can help support some of that risk for the lenders. So maybe if you receive additional collateral, or if you receive down payment assistance or other items that may strengthen your application to mitigate what that issue would be, right? So continue to knock on the door of your lenders, continue to knock on the door of the resources provided to you, because every situation is different, right? Your personal credit and the way that you manage your finances, the type of business you are, how you're paid, or do you have contracts, things like that can cover in the case that maybe you don't have that longevity in businesses that a lot of banks are looking for. But there are also some lenders who have a little bit more relaxed standards when it comes to the time that you are in business. Having conversations with us about those things will help point you in the right direction.
Thanks, Aaron and Jonathan. I want to underscore something that Aaron said. Each business is different. You might speak with another business owner or a friend who had an experience trying to get financing, and they're speaking from their very, very specific experience. But yours could be different as far as the conditions of your business, the stage of your business, what your financing situation is. So always reach out to the local lenders like CFE and the DISB and DSLBD to share your individual experience so that you can get the right information and referrals for that. We do have another question that came in through the chat. When determining your ask amount, when it comes to working capital, what is the amount of time we should figure? 6 months, a year, for example?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sure. This is specifically about when trying to figure out your ask amount, I believe for working capital. What is the amount of time that the business should figure for? Should it be for 6 months or a year or a length of time?
So I think it can definitely vary depending on the type of a business and how you generate revenue, what you're trying to accomplish. A couple of things is if for example the acquisition, right, it will be a year until that side of that expansion is up and running. You may want to what that working capital need is going to be for that year while the construction and renovation is happening, right? If the operations are at a stop, how is that going to impact, your business? So you need to budget for all of that.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Charlotte, if I didn't,
I think Aaron was saying something, but he was muted.
oh, go for it, Aaron.
No, I was going to say really quickly, I do have to jump off soon, but I would agree with that. And I'd say up to a year is what you can look at, but it's really going to depend on, again, what your need is. Maybe you only need support for 3 months, right? Maybe a little bit longer, but really it should be no longer than a year.
Thank you both. And Charlotte, I was just going to say, and Charlotte was the person who asked the question. If in paraphrasing I misrepresented your question, please unmute and clarify. If not, we'll jump to the next one. We can squeeze it maybe one more before Aaron goes. Do you categorize the banks that help by their risk adversity?
Well, no, if you're talking about DISB in our program, we work with 11 different lenders. What we do is we get an understanding of what your actual ask or what you need help supporting financing on. And from there, it's going to do a lot to dictate where the best option would be. What I'll tell you is City First Enterprises is always one of our top folks to send a loan to, just because they're a CDFI, which is called Community Development Financial Institution. So that a lot of times they can lend in and outside of the scope of what a traditional bank or lender is. They're willing to take a little bit more risk to support small businesses, and they're local for the most part, right? I think that's really important, because a lot of times you'll go and knock on the door of a very large bank, and maybe their underwriter is in California or Florida, and they don't understand this local area. They don't understand our specific needs. So it's really important, I think, to have a more localized lender and have the relationships that can step in and understand your business a little bit more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm going to head out, but thank you very much for the time. I dropped my information in the chat. Please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So much.
And I was just looking to see, I don't think there was a couple of comments that came in. I'll just really quickly. Someone asked about the calendar. That link will be in the slides when we send it out. The slides will be interactive, so you can just click through any link you saw on screen. You'll be able to click through to that. And someone was networking in the chat about the type of space they're looking for, which you're more than welcome to do so. And also in the slides, there'll be a link to the roadmap about finding space that can help you navigate to some spaces that might fit those requirements. I don't see any more questions that came in through the chat. Do any of our phone users want to unmute and ask a question, or really anyone on the phone or otherwise, if you have any final questions to ask of Jonathan and Ms. Wanda, who stayed with us? Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Looking to see, no, lots of great thank yous for all your great information, Ms. Wanda and Jonathan in the chat. And I'll join them in saying thank you so much. This has been, I was very excited when this topic came up, and Jonathan and Aaron proposed doing this, because we're always looking for ways to stack it. And I was so blessed that Ms. Wanda wanted to come in and share her real life experience. So thank you to you three, and Aaron, who just left us a moment ago. And thank you to all for joining in. We love these topics. If you have other topics about financing that you'd like for us to explore, let us know at Inno.ED at dc.gov. That's how we get a lot of these Money Mondays. These are the things that people are asking about. We pull together partners like City First Enterprises, DISB, and business examples like Wanda's on 7th to provide you that type of guidance. I'm Camille Nixon with the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you at our next training. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.